Adobe has tried to make their way into this new text-to-image AI generation market. First off, I'd like to state that I'm not exactly the biggest fan of Adobe. Let's go over a little list I've written out of things that kind of irk me about Adobe. First of all, they entirely do subscription plans now. These plans are very expensive. Oftentimes they are bundles that include other software that you might not want but still have to pay for anyways. All of these subscription plans and bundles run through their Adobe Creative Cloud, which is a good idea that they've kind of executed very poorly. Adobe Creative Cloud takes up a lot of processing power just sitting in the background of your computer. It always needs to be updated. They have premature cancellation fees, which personally I find pretty egregious. Let's just take ChatGPT Plus because it's very relevant. You can cancel that anytime. It's $20 a month, but you just cancel it if I don't want it anymore, and they don't charge you an extra fee. An Adobe subscription, on the other hand, will charge you like $70 if you only needed it for like a month, and now you don't need it anymore. And the whole reason that Adobe has these egregious subscription plans and cancellation fees is because they kind of have a monopoly on the art market. They are really great tools. So I'm not knocking you if you like Adobe tools, because I actually like Adobe tools too. But man, getting to the actual product that you like is kind of a huge pain in the butt with Adobe. So when they announced Firefly, which is their AI art generation suite, believe me, I was a little skeptical too. But I've gotta say, so far, this is one of the best first steps into the AI art generation space that I've seen a company take thus far, Microsoft included. So here's the Firefly announcement page. What do we want to accomplish in this video? First off, we want to know how Adobe's AI image generation models stack up against the competition. And as we talked about earlier, Adobe has this monopoly on the art space as a whole in some ways. So how is this going to affect artists? Will artists who absolutely hate AI start to come around to AI when it's integrated into every single tool? So first off, they've got a few tools, basic AI image generation with actually quite a lot of options. As you can see from this little letter A over here, they've actually got this 3D customized letter generator or word generator, which I'll show off as well. Anyways, they do say they want to seriously expand this in the future. They are going to be essentially creating a whole AI art editing suite. And yeah, just based off of this little demo they're showing here, it looks very, very competitive, where you can actually generate backgroundless imagery that blends seamlessly into what you're trying to create. So this is like Photoshop on a whole nother level. Adobe's definitely trying to use their technological and creative tool prowess to really attack this. They're even going after video editing in the future here. Again, we don't have access to these features yet. They are going guns blazing with this stuff. So when you log on, this is what you're greeted with. We've got 3 options. So when you log on, this is what you're greeted with at the moment. We actually have 2 options, text to image and text effects, and then this recolor vectors is coming soon. Let's jump right in with text to image. The prompt bubble is down here at the bottom of the screen. We're going to start off with a very basic prompt, photo of a firefly in a stunning garden, and it's going to generate pretty quickly over here. And actually, the generations we got right off the bat are pretty decent. This one's not great at all, to be honest. This one is mediocre at best. This one's okay. So yeah, I mean, this is a short prompt in general, so we don't really expect the best image ever. But that's where Adobe Firefly is doing things differently than other AI generation suites. And it's all happening over here to the right. First off, we have aspect ratio right off the bat. DALL-E 2 still doesn't have aspect ratio, and its updated Bing AI art generator, which still technically is like a DALL-E 2 but more advanced under the hood, still doesn't have aspect ratio either. So yeah, if we want to do widescreen, we could just do widescreen right off the bat, and it will regenerate everything in widescreen. You'll also notice there is a content type right under that aspect ratio. So we can say, oh, well, this is going to be a photo, or this is going to be something more graphic, or this is like art. And obviously it auto-selected the art preset for us. But you know what? I want a nice macro photo, like a really close-up photo of a real firefly. So I'm going to click photo here. We'll go ahead and do like a 4x3 landscape photo for this. And as you can see, things are already beginning to change quite a lot with this. Now we're getting actual images that look a lot like real photos because we've selected that specific content type. I actually really like this user interface that they've developed so far. I'm not sure exactly what a Firefly looks like, I'm gonna be honest. And these bugs all look very dissimilar from each other. They don't really look like each other. This looks like a bee. Alright, well that's a nice picture of a Firefly. Now we know what it's supposed to look like. None of these exactly look like fireflies. Well, now we can go down to the different styles. Look at the different amount of styles that they have provided for these image generators. I mean, they've got different movements, different themes, different techniques. There's actually quite a lot to explore here. They've spent some real time developing this. You know, you could do bokeh, fisheye, pixel art, or 3D art, or product photos, steampunk, vaporwave, synthwave. Let's scroll down now to the final three settings here: color and tone, lighting, and composition. You can really tell that Adobe is attacking this whole interface for image generation using what they already know about creating imagery as a whole. We've got some really good selections here for the actual color: black and white, muted color, warm, cool tones, vibrant color, and pastel. I'm going to go with none so far for this color and tone, but then they go into lighting, backlighting, dramatic lighting, golden hour, studio lighting, and low lighting. I want studio lighting for my specific image on this one, so I'm going to click studio lighting, and then composition. Again, like I said, I want this to be a macro photography, which is very, very close up imagery of something small. They have a macro photography setting. I click that here. I click generate. As you can see, the photos are now much more close up. They much more resemble macro photography, and there's more detail because I did that studio lighting. And while these images of fireflies don't look like fireflies, first of all, they actually possess quite a lot of detail and do look like a photo that was shot on a real camera. Now, maybe a firefly isn't exactly the best example, so let's change it up a little bit. This is one of the first tests that I did yesterday. Photo of a tabby cat. I gotta say, these generations are actually pretty decent. The eyes are a little screwed up on this cat, I will admit, but this one, I gotta say, is actually a very, very well realized photo of a cat. You can really tell that they're using a quality training set for all of this data. Truthfully, all of these different options here on the side allow you to really enhance a pretty basic prompt, but the news actually gets better when you use a more advanced prompt. This is supposed to be a confident orange tabby cat in an urban city during the fall. With a more advanced prompt, your images actually get better. This image is really quite good. I gotta say, the only mess ups I'm really seeing are the nose here and obviously on this eye, but the whole body of the cat is looking very good. You can see there's a lot of detail in the image as a whole, and the background is definitely accurate to an urban city. This one is almost flawless. The body of the cat is a little chubby, maybe down towards the bottom, but you can definitely tell it's during the fall. The cat is very well realized, and the lighting definitely is dramatic. It almost looks like a perfect real photo. This one as well is another close-up photo, again, following those guidelines that we specified for it, and it's again, almost perfect. Not really much weirdness going on in the photo at all. And it follows the prompt pretty closely as well. And then there is another one. This one's probably the worst out of the bunch, but still following the prompt pretty accurately and very competitive. Maybe not as good as Midjourney V5 yet, but it's right on Midjourney V5's tail. Remember, this is Adobe's first delve into AI art generation. Let's take the same exact prompt here, but completely change the style of it. So I'm going to clear all the styles, and now we'll go up here and we're going to say that this is art of some form, and it automatically regenerates, by the way, which I kind of find annoying sometimes. It will also make it a portrait aspect ratio, and we're going to go ahead and pick one of these styles here. You can already see it's completely regenerated in an artistic style just by clicking this. For example, let's try cyberpunk. What happens if we make this cyberpunk? As you can see, we've got some more neon colors. It's not necessarily cyberpunk, but we can see more of the city in the background. The eyes are pretty screwed up in this, by the way, and the body of the cat doesn't look nearly as good. This one's pretty gross as well. Not competitive with Midjourney at all. This one is a little bit better though, but you can see there's like some over-processing going on, a little bit of weirdness. In terms of the artistic side of things, Adobe Firefly has a lot of catching up to do in my personal experience with it. But with photography, I think it's actually ahead in a lot of ways. So let's say I want to do layered paper, product photo, and then generate that. Not necessarily applying these styles nearly as well, but you can see a little bit of that layered paper in a few of these photos. They also have concepts like, let's make this thing absolutely chaotic. We'll also make it a fisheye style. We'll go for vaporwave as well to apply. And also let's make it 3D art. Why not? And we'll go all the way down here. We're going to give this a vibrant color. The lighting is going to be dramatic, and the composition is going to be, well, a wide angle because we want it to be a fisheye. And we'll click generate. I don't know, I gotta say, not really applying these all that well. So it seems that it might be possible when you overlap a bunch of these styles together, they don't exactly work well. Like if I try just pixel art here, yeah, pixel art immediately is already trying to give us something a little bit better. I didn't even mention pixel art in the prompt here. And look, if you change the prompt, it actually produces much better pixel art results. Although I gotta say, these aren't really that great compared to some of the fine-tuned pixel art stable diffusion models I've seen. But I really do like the concept of specifying the content type first, then adding some styles, then doing the color and tone, lighting and composition, and really enhancing a prompt as a whole. Oh yeah, one other thing to mention really quick. There are so many banned words here in Adobe Firefly. It might actually be worse than DALL-E 2. Like the word lens, for example, is completely banned. The word lens. What's wrong with the word lens? And that honestly kind of reminds me of the early DALL-E 2 versus Stable Diffusion days, where Stable Diffusion handily outbeat DALL-E 2 in a lot of ways, just because it didn't have so many banned words. Oh yeah, by the way, here's a quick example of it actually recreating text pretty well. So that is a strong suit of this model, text. And this thing will absolutely not generate any famous characters at all. So that's another huge downside. All right, quickly, we're going to cover the text effects option as well. This is something completely unique to Adobe Firefly. And you can see there's actually a lot of really great examples. But yeah, essentially this is like these 3D letters that are very punchy and bold. Essentially how this works is that it will actually generate letters with the style of prompt you actually type in the bottom here, and you can actually change this to whatever you want. Just the word subscribe, for example, it will completely generate it with black and gold dripping paint, and it looks pretty cool as well. So I definitely could see a lot of really professional use cases for this. They've got a lot of really nice sample effects you can try, such as this dripping paint one, and they've also got this text effect fit option. A looser text effect fit will allow, let's say, for more drippage off of the letters. So it's not so confined to the font itself. There's a lot of drippage and messing around that goes on. But if you make it tight, as you can see, there's like no drippage at all. It's just the letters and pretty much nothing else. But yeah, other than that, there's not really too much going on with these different text effects, and you pretty much can type anything down here in the prompt if you want. So yeah, I actually am a pretty big fan of this little text effect thing, but it is more of a gimmick than anything else. It's not as serious as the text-to-image generation, but it is something that really does make it unique and stand out from the crowd. Going to run through a few quick prompt comparisons comparing this thing to Midjourney V5. This is a frog detective smoking at a bar. This is some digital art. He is supposed to have a disgruntled look on his face, mind you, and he certainly doesn't. He looks very much like a frog in these, but I gotta say, in all of these generations by Adobe Firefly, first of all, the cigarette is literally hovering in midair over here, which makes absolutely no sense. This one, it actually managed to put it in his mouth, which is pretty cool. This one, he's holding it, which isn't too bad, but again, no disgruntled look at all on his face. Meanwhile, Midjourney V5 also struggled with the position of the cigarette, actually trying to get it in its mouth, but the disgruntled look is definitely more visible on a lot of these characters' faces, and there's actually a lot more variety to these characters. While they don't necessarily look as much like real frogs, there's just something about these that make them look more like artistic character concepts in comparison to these, which look a lot more bland. Bing Image Creator, on the other hand, which is powered by the updated version of DALL-E. Really solid stuff coming from Bing Image Creator. Disgruntled look on the face. Again, tough with the cigarette, but at the end of the day, a lot of these generations have a lot of character. They seem like character concepts for this detective frog. There's just so much in there. And again, I really think that the Adobe Firefly model is lacking this extra character. This prompt, for me, is a tie between the Bing Image Creator and Midjourney V5. This prompt right here was a striking award-winning detailed photo of a scarlet macaw taken on a Canon, and you can definitely tell that Adobe Firefly nailed this one, but it is a pretty easy prompt. There are a lot of photos of this common bird, and yeah, it did a great job, not much to say, but then again, so did Bing's AI generator as well. These are all super detailed, well thought out. They all look like real photos, to be honest. This is sort of the ceiling of these these AIs. They can all generate this fantastically. And while Midjourney rendered these birds really, really well with lots of sharp details, and it is a very striking image, I gotta say, there is like no background to these images at all. Whereas Adobe Firefly Beta looks a lot more like a real photo, I think, at the end of the day, in comparison to Midjourney. And same goes for these ones, there's actually some background in all of these images with the Bing image creator. But yeah, these images are very, very striking from Midjourney. People love Midjourney. I love Midjourney. I don't know. There's something that captivates me about the way it produces images. Finally, we're going to do a prompt that is pretty detailed and actually pretty difficult. Award-winning professional photo of a kitten bouncing on a red suitcase that is floating in the middle of the ocean at sunset. There are suitcases and airplane debris floating in the water in the background, taken on a Hasselblad 500cm f3.5. Lots going on in this. You know what? We'll give Adobe Firefly the benefit of the doubt with this one and apply some styles. So since this is at sunset, we'll set the lighting to golden hour. And of course, this is shot on a 500cm. We're going to go with a close-up composition. And we'll see how Adobe Firefly does. So here are the images we got from Adobe Firefly. You know what's really interesting about these? They all have like an airplane in the background. So we definitely do see the cat on the suitcase here in the water, but it looks like it's a photoshopped image, honestly. This doesn't look like it's blending in like it doesn't look like a real photo, let's be honest. Same thing with this one. This is disappointing. The cat is completely mushed, weird airplane in the background. The suitcase looks all right, I guess. I do like the reflection a lot though with this one. This one, again, the same thing. It's just not looking great. I don't even know what that is in the sky back there, and the cat is not very, I don't think he's too happy there. I wouldn't be happy if I looked like that either. This is probably the best result out of the bunch. Suitcase definitely floating around in the water. The cat looks, I don't know, all right, I guess. It's kind of hard to give it that one. And then there's a plane in the background as well. But I think the water looks good, the suitcase looks good, and the background looks pretty good. Now, here is what Midjourney produced for us. I said this was not an easy prompt. First off, we're noticing the suitcase looks really, really good in all of these. First of all, the sunset also looks great, and so does the water. The cat, however, on the other hand, it doesn't really look too fantastic in any of these, just like the Adobe Firefly prompt. This is a difficult prompt, but it looks better than the cats from Adobe Firefly for sure, especially this one, which actually is pretty close to being perfect. His paws, though, like in the background, his hind legs, you can't really see them. This one also isn't too bad, but again, his legs are a little bit messed up, but the water splashes on this are fantastic. Yeah, the suitcase in the water looks great on all of these. It's just the cat that these are really struggling with. Let's see what Bing did. Bing here actually took a slightly different approach in terms of the overall composition. These are less sharp photos. I think it's actually trying to apply that Hasselblad 500cm look a little bit more, but again, the cat is kind of screwed up here. The suitcase in the water and the debris look good in this one, though. Still trying to put the plane in the background. Same thing for this one. The cat, though, looks pretty decent. The suitcases also look good, too, and it definitely looks a lot like a real photo when you consider the background of this one. Again, the cat is completely screwed up on this one. Suitcase looks all right, so does the water. More planes floating in the background, just like Adobe Firefly. I don't need to say much about this one. This one looks like an early Stable Diffusion generation. Absolutely not good at all. So, comparing the best results from all three of these models, yeah, still got to give it to Midjourney. I think Midjourney did the best with the prompts. However, I will say that Adobe Firefly is not that far behind the brand new Bing image creator model. So here's where the rubber meets the road. Is this product really worth it when taking everything into account? Well, if Adobe Firefly is completely free, which of course is never going to happen, yeah, it's actually a really great little image generator for completely free. And right now it's completely free, but it's in beta and limited access, by the way, guys. I'll link everything down below and you can get on the waitlist, but yeah, for now it's limited access. But if they were to keep it for free, yeah, this is a no-brainer to use. It's a fast generation, it's pretty decent quality generation too, all things considered, and it has a really great UI. If this was a one-time purchase license, which again with Adobe is never going to happen, but if it was a one-time purchase, yeah, obviously I think this would be great for a one-time purchase access. Now let's get into the more realistic side of things. If this was $5 per month or $10 per month, I would totally say that it's worth it, as long as the generations are like not token based, and you get quite a lot of generations per month, let's say. Like 3,000 generations per month for $10 a month. Pretty competitive pricing in comparison to Midjourney, let's say, which is unlimited generations for $30 a month, or like 200 generations for $10 a month. Gotta remember, overall, Midjourney still is a better image oh my god. Guys, check this out. I just realized that Adobe themselves produced the lemon generation. I finally made it. I wonder if this is an actual reference to my channel and like my character as a whole, or if like they just noticed that people like to generate lemons on the beach. I don't think Adobe Firefly would be worth it with anything more than $10 per month in its current state. If this model got better, that could change. If they added more features, that could change. In its current state though, that's what I think this is valued at. Midjourney is really tough competition, let's be honest. If you want a more in-depth look into the latest and greatest of AI technology and news, make sure you join my Discord server because that's all that goes on there. We just discuss the latest and greatest about AI and share our AI knowledge and creations. Check out some of my other videos. Thank you so much for watching this, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.